Hey, thanks for listening to or watching another episode of SNTR Presents. If you didn't catch me live, there'll be timestamps below for the various sections. The lead topic is Halo Infinite Beta Review. My thoughts on the Halo Infinite technical test. I got to play quite a bit on Friday and a little bit over the weekend, not as much as I wanted, so that timestamp will be there. We're also covering other gaming news in every episode. This is a Safe for Work broadcast Monday through Friday. A lot of people throw me on in the background like Video Game Radio and Horizon Forbidden West getting delayed. Still not seeing any necessarily official confirmation. I wasn't able to double and triple check that, but a lot of this is still according to insiders. We're going to talk about what that means for Sony if Horizon can't land the plane in the winter, because there's not a lot lined up for Sony in the near future. And Apex Legends, speaking of Sony, recently did a PS4 ban wave. For whatever reason, the recent amount of bans have escalated, and specifically on the PS4. We're going to talk about why exactly that happened, and that'll be later in the show. Keep in mind, if you're a paying member, you can submit questions about any of these topics ahead of time or right when you get here in the morning. Some people even used the Discord server last night. I think we already have like 4 or 5 questions in the queue. So you're going to want to get here early, right when the stream starts, to get those questions submitted, or hang out in our Discord. We continue to organize the Discord around the idea that games like Halo, Battlefield, New World, and others will be mainstays here, where you can come in, get news, get gameplay, but also connect with the community and find people to play with. During the stream, we do live Q&A and discussion, so we don't have to stay on a specific topic. You guys really drive the show, I would say almost as much as I do, because it's a live interactive podcast, so you guys get to kind of dictate what we end up talking about. So you can see there the Halo Infinite technical test review. Now, we're not scheduling the stream super far in advance. We're doing them a little bit shorter, maybe about an hour or less before they go live. So this afternoon, I will be streaming the game Grime. You can see it there, Grime gameplay. That will be this afternoon. We did get a code for that. It launched today, and it looks really cool, but we're not scheduling super far in advance anymore. It's actually helping our flow and our process. We can make those pivots on the fly if we need to, if we get a new game, if there's another game worth playing, or maybe we just don't feel like playing that game that day. So if you're looking for what we're covering and when, you can follow me on Twitter or hang out in the Discord. I'm still going to let you know ahead of time what the topics are. Here are the thumbnails. Here's what everything's going to look like. But the streams will actually be scheduled quite a bit closer to when we go live. And we had a great Friday. If you weren't here and you missed it, it was a really full day, and I appreciated everybody supporting. You can see there, all 3 of those streams were Friday. If you add up those 3 streams, that is a really strong day. And it was a lot of variety, and that's really what we're going for. So we basically did not do the talk show Friday morning. We dove into the Halo Infinite technical test gameplay. If you want to watch that, I've got the timestamps of everything. I go through all the weapons in the shooting range. I get 3 stars on every single one. It took a while on a couple of the guns because they're kind of weird. And then we dove back into Dark Souls 3 for From Friday and had a great play session. We beat that Borealis, or whatever his name is, knight, and we accidentally stumbled into the Savage Witch, or whatever her name is, the Crystal Sage. We put that over on gaming. It's about a 4-minute video where I finally beat her. But that happened in that play session. So make sure you're here every Friday. Those From Friday play sessions can get a little salty and a little frustrating, and I know people like to see me get irritated. And then we played this adorable little game called Omno, and apparently it was built by like one guy, and he was even promoting it on TikTok. We had people come in from TikTok and say, hey, you know, how is the game? It's available on Game Pass as well as Steam. Now, we're hearing there are some performance issues with frame rate dropping and other things. I didn't have any issue on PC. If you want to check it out on Game Pass, I actually highly recommend this one. It's a really nice sort of, it's not open world, but it feels open world because it's sort of open exploration and puzzle solving and platforming, all combined into one, like, really charming little game. So be sure to check that one out. And then we were supposed to play Vesper and put that footage over on gaming today. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that, but I did get a code from them, so we may dive in for a short play session this afternoon if we have time after Grime. I'm not sure. That may end up getting couched sometime this week. We had relatives kind of surprise us on the weekend. We weren't really sure. We knew they were coming back through, and then they showed up, and it was like, well, a lot of my plans and things I had set up for the stream and the business, I had to kind of put to the side. But it was a good weekend. The weather was beautiful, so it was a welcome break from all of the work. So make sure you are supporting the gaming channel now that we're really putting a lot more content over there. SNTR Gaming used to be a place where we would kind of stream in the afternoons, and we still do streams periodically. Hilly and I played Dead Space on Friday night, and it was absolutely hysterical. We had a great time. Look at the viewership on that. People are taking an interest in Dead Space again, and we played for about 3 hours. We'll probably do some more this Friday. Just hilarious. We were trying to find more and more fun co-op games like that where we can just kind of be ourselves and have a good time. But you can see here, we're trying to feature lots of different gameplay for you. So Chernobylite for 30 minutes, then Eldest Souls, the flight simulator from Microsoft, and then over the weekend I uploaded my Tribes of Midgard first 30 minutes, and then the Dark Souls 3 Crystal Sage boss fight. So a great channel for real quick snippets of gameplay and newer games. So make sure you're subscribed over there, and then a Friday night stream with Hilly. And we may do, periodically streams over there if we feel like it will fit. Now, if you're here throughout the week and sometimes you can't catch the live stream, or maybe live streams just don't jive with your schedule anymore, SNTR Shorts is here for you. Short 4-minute videos, all the news and things that I cover, whether it's first impressions or today a review of the Halo Infinite technical preview. That review that I'll be doing will end up over there on SNTR Shorts, along with my coverage today of the Apex Legends PS4 ban wave and Horizon Forbidden West getting delayed. It's difficult sometimes to watch an entire 4-hour stream. You can always come back and use the timestamps. That helps me anyways. Like if you would prefer just to come back to one channel and have everything, we use those timestamps, and YouTube just updated how those are displayed, like up in the corner if you're on a browser. The way they're listed as like chapters. That's really nice. That interface is really fancy. So be sure to either support SNTR Shorts or this channel, or both if you'd like. Some people do that. You guys are awesome. The people that are here every day and support both the live stream as well as the other channels. So we have a very, very full plate this morning. We're excited. I feel really good about Halo Infinite, and I want to talk to you about why. I'll give you a brief peek at my outline. Combat, map design, graphics, bots, and Arena has a chance. Why does Arena gameplay have a chance right now? What was I feeling in this technical preview from Halo Infinite and the gameplay? So we have a lot of ways that you can support the stream. I'm wearing a Silver Surfer a Silver Surfer shirt from 80s Tees. I've got glasses on from Blue Blocks. Now, if you start clicking on these streams and you see that it says contains like paid promotion, all right, you will always know if I'm being paid to play a game or cover a game. That has not happened since I started streaming on YouTube. We are not getting paid to cover any of these stories or any of these segments, but we are starting to broker deals with our sponsors where I am paid for placement within the stream, and we have to say that the video contains paid promotion. So now that we have some of these contracts officially signed and in motion, if you come to the channel and you see that, that's the only reason it says that. If I am being paid to play or cover a game, I will disclose that. But now that we are entering contracts with some sponsors, I've got some new ones that I'll be able to announce this week. We want to make sure and disclose that some of the placement within these streams is paid for, and if you use my code, obviously that supports me. So there are other ways to support the channel as well. If you are looking for the coffee, use the coffee command, the glasses command. The shirt command will always take you to the collection that the shirt is from, but you can use code LONO on any of the shirts on 80s Tees. Coffee has been doing amazing. Thanks for some of the orders over the weekend. We greatly appreciate that. The join button is there, ! Join, or the join command, or the join button. That's a great way. You get the little badge, you get the little emotes, and you get increased access in the Discord. You're going to want to familiarize yourself with the Discord and those perks and benefits in the coming weeks as we get closer and closer to some of these bigger launches like Battlefield and Halo, that's going to be a great place for you to cash in on those benefits. So you can go to discord.gg/SNTR network, or you can use the Discord command in chat. The question command's available to paid members. We're trying to very much balance the difference between what is free and what is not. Mainly, I ask people, just please be here, lurk, listen, press the like button, take our polls, talk in chat. Those are all free options that are probably the most valuable support a stream can get. So the more of you that are here when we start in the morning, and the more active chat is, and the more active a poll is, and the better the like button getting pressed, all of those are very helpful things in this environment. So I don't want anybody to feel like, man, he keeps focusing on the join button and questions. We're just really seeing that as sort of a ground level entrance point into all of the benefits of the SNTR network, but the content will continue to be accessible and free every day of the week right here on the main channel, SNTR Presents. So get the likes going in the chat. You can smash that button if you want, the like button if you haven't already, and wear out that join button if you're not currently a paid member. And we appreciate all the current and existing members. I'll be live on the mic in just a second. It's going to be a good day. Thanks for being here. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for being here bright and early on a Monday morning. I hope you had a great weekend. We had a bit of a different weekend for us. We got surprised by some relatives traveling through. I mean, we knew they were traveling back through, but we didn't have the exact date. So we were putting them up and getting a room for them here at the house. And just the kids love it. Kids love it. We love it. It's a great, great time. We got to enjoy just beautiful weather, perfect weather. But it kept me from playing that Halo Infinite technical test, man. I wanted to jump back in. I wanted to put in the time. I was really, really enjoying myself. Hopefully you guys got to put in a lot of time with the Halo Infinite beta, or I guess we're calling it a beta just to keep everything short. But the Halo Infinite technical preview, a lot of good game releases too. I mean, we featured so many last week. So what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Good to see you, Feed. Yeah, get us our first 100 likes, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. We're trying something that some of you might be unaccustomed to, and we don't know what it will do to starting numbers and viewership, but we will not be scheduling streams super far in advance, and that is just a thing that we are doing. And the reason that we're doing it is because the timing and our own workflow, it just makes it a lot easier on me and on Creature to get everything kind of loaded up and ready to go, and not have to deal with the long-term scheduling way ahead of time. So you may be noticing that. You're like, man, where are the streams? Well, if you show up shortly before they're supposed to be live, they should be there. And that's a great reason to have notifications turned on. Yo, Kat with a $20 tip through Super Chat. So excited and happy for the sponsors. Congrats, Lono. Yeah, I just made sure and went and turned that feature on. You may be periodically noticing when you come and click on the streams that it says that the video includes paid promotion. Again, to reiterate, that does not mean I'm being paid to cover the game or play a certain game. If that is happening, I will say that to you. You will know, oh, he is being paid to play this game. This is a sponsored stream. A video containing paid promotion just means I am in a contract with a company that is paying for the placement, and we have to divulge that. That's just something that we're doing to be on the up and up. And quite frankly, we didn't have to do that until very recently. So I recently just signed a couple of contracts, like one last night and a couple others that will go into effect this week. So we greatly appreciate your support of the stream that's enabled us to get those deals. What's good, Atwood? I'm good. Thanks for asking. The Halo beta is fantastic, says Mick. Can't wait for the full release now. I uninstalled Destiny after playing it because Crucible pales in comparison. Yes, Philip, I played the Ascent. You can watch that playthrough here on this channel if you'd like. I really enjoyed it. Now, we're hearing that the Ascent has some performance issues and some challenges. I did not experience any of that. Apparently, people are having crashes and disconnects when they try to do multiplayer and some other things that are irritating. I was 30%, installing it on my Xbox Series X. I was at like 33% the other night, and we lost power. I have been consistently denied just like a nice night with my wife. Like, we were gonna like play the Ascent, we were just gonna chill, and then the power went out. And then the next night, the relatives came into town. So it was like, man, we're not gonna get any time. It was like the universe was against us playing it. So I can't tell you how it runs on Series X. Daniel says that it crashes and corrupted his save, caused me to lose loot. Well, that's not good to hear. Played VOG last night with buds. Felt weird. Had fun with my friends, but the raid was just background noise. I got to that place pretty consistently with that game. I don't know if I wouldn't jump to a diagnosis just yet, Good morning. I see Victor saying good morning in the Discord. Good morning, Victor. Good morning, everybody. See you there, Captain Toasty Buns. Thank you guys for being here so much. Congrats on the new contracts. Thank you. I appreciate it. PC was a mess, but expected. That's so odd. I had no issues on PC. Well, unless you're talking about the Halo Infinite technical test. Yeah, the Ascent ran fine for me on PC. But again, I just played single player. Maybe as soon as you're trying to play with other people, it really fiddles with it. I'm not really sure. You never want to have crashes or corrupted saves. You know what I mean? Fair just hadn't played in like a month. It's weird when you take a really, really long break from a game. There's two things that happen to me when I take a really, really long break from a video game. Sometimes you come back and you're like, oh, I missed this. I forgot how fun this was. It's like riding a bike. Other times you feel like it's like when you go from a really comfortable pair of shoes to a new pair of shoes and you're like, they don't quite fit right. They're kind of not necessarily exactly where you want them. You know that they fit and you know that you like them, but you're like, it doesn't quite fit right. You got to break them in. I don't know. Sometimes it's like that. If you take a break from a video game for a while and you come back to it, there's just enough unfamiliarity that it doesn't quite feel the same. And sometimes you get back there and sometimes you don't. I remember when I went back to Assassin's Creed Origins. It took me a while. It took me a play session to get back to where I was like, oh, I'm in. I want to beat this. You know what I mean? How do you feel about the Halo multiplayer now that you've played it? I'm picking your brain with comparison to a few weeks ago. This was a pleasant surprise, Murph, because I'm going to be honest with you. This is what we anticipated on Thursday. We're like, we'll cover the game and the topics and the conversation and the Q&A in the morning Thursday, and then we'll get into gameplay, and I'll play for maybe an hour or two. That'll be enough. We'll sample it. We'll dip our toe. Well, that didn't work. So I was a little worried. I was like, we got to lead the day Friday with access. I got my access. The power comes back on. I wake up in the morning. I have an email with instructions, and I'm like, screw it. I was like, let's just play. Let's just start the day diving in with the Halo Infinite technical test. Fridays tends to be one of our weaker days anyway, so I'm like, let's just start with gameplay. And I was worried because I was like, we had From Friday with Dark Souls, and then we had Omno. I'm like, 3 games in one day. I was like, I don't know how people are going to be receptive to that. And secondly, I don't even know if I'm going to want to play Halo Infinite, a technical test against bots. Like, am I going to want to play that for very long? So I was like, all right, we'll spend the first hour, screwing around with the guns in the gun range, and then we'll jump into the multiplayer, and we'll see how I do. And I can't fake it. You guys know, I think that there is a certain charm to my lack of filter and fake enjoyment. Like, I can't do it. I can't fake enjoy a game. Even if the numbers are there. Like, if you were around when I played Monster Hunter, like, Monster Hunter was so good for my channel. I went over and in one afternoon got a bunch of new people in the channel, got a bunch of support, and people were like, oh, this is so fun watching you play this. And I never walked back. I was like, I'm never going back to that game again. I can't fake it, right? So y'all know I cannot fake enjoyment of a game. I'm too transparent. I'm too irritable. Like, I'm easily irritated by games. And I was like, dude, I keep playing. I kept going, I kept playing, I kept doing it. So I want to see. Let's get a poll going. Halo Infinite technical test. Did seeing or playing change your mind? Did seeing it or playing change your mind? Yes or no? And that could be in a positive or a negative. You could say, yeah, it changed my mind. I think the game looks like garbage, right? I think the game looks terrible. Or you could be like, no, it changed my mind. So, yes, it changed your mind could be a negative. So, Halo Infinite technical test. Did seeing it or playing change your mind? There you go. Poll in chat. Yes or no. No could be no. I was happily pleased and pleasant surprised. You know, you were already anticipating playing. So yes and no are not necessarily positive and negative responses right now. It could have changed your mind in the negative and been like, no, it changed my mind. I think it looks like trash. Like, or, you know, I was already anticipating enjoying it. Murph says, I'll be honest with you, seeing the gameplay, hearing those announcer voices, somewhere deep inside a spark lit, and I hadn't felt since the Halo Reach days. Yo, good morning, Dolphin. How are you? Now I was already in. The test just helped solidify my decision. Right, so Sacrifice are saying no, and it's a positive no, but some other people are saying, you know, no, yeah, you know, or ADJC's like, yes, it changed my mind. I want to play the game a lot more. Right. I played it over the weekend, loved it. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. Graphically, I was disappointed, says Amanda Williams. Will the graphics be better? Well, here's the thing, okay? I think the graphics in the campaign are going to be top shelf, okay? I think they're going to bring it. I think the lighting, I think the armor, I think all of it's going to look amazing. I don't think multiplayer is focused on graphics looking amazing. What graphically strong game have you played recently that's massively popular as a multiplayer game? It wasn't Fortnite. It certainly wasn't Call of Duty Warzone. Neither of those games look incredible. Now, Apex Legends is probably one of the few games that focused on looking dope and is also highly popular. Outside of that, what do you got? H1Z1, PUBG, CSGO, Valorant? None of these games look good. Like, they look fine. They pass the questions. Is it a video game? Yes. Does it run? Yes. Like, that's it. Like, they don't try to be exceptionally graphically strong, photorealistic, or any of that. I mean, I think Call of Duty Warzone looks drab and all the colors look muted, and yet it's one of the most popular games in the world, you know? Just from the weapons and gameplay, this game's going to be great. I was hooked. I'm telling you. Like, I was like, this is fun. This is exactly the kind of gameplay. Now, unfortunately, they changed and added a new map over the weekend. I tried to play. I was going to try and get footage, and the game crashed on me because it is a technical test. I was kind of bummed about that. Oh, man, that's good. Guys, don't forget, now that I've got my breakfast shake down, I can start drinking some of the Rageless Roast. Don't forget, we're completely restocked on Rageless Roast. Light Roast, Dark Roast will be here. It's August, so Dark Roast will be here later in the month. Brand new matte finished label bags. Rageless Roast looking so good. Apex decided not to bother having audio that makes any kind of sense. Yeah, I saw a clip of Dr. Disrespect. He was ranting and raving about Apex, and it trended on Reddit. And he said, you know, this is why nobody wants to watch this game. This is why nobody wants to play this game. And he was going off about the armor. Now, it was classic Doc, right? It was classic Doc. But at the same time, I played Apex in an afternoon, and I was like, I think armor is going to be a problem. Like, RNG in the armor, like, that's going to be a problem. I remember people telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. They're like, that's just part of the game. You're ignorant. You know what you're talking about. And then, like, 2 weeks later, Doc starts railing against the RNG of the armor, and other people start chiming in, and now they've removed that aspect of the armor, right? And the idea still, though, that, you know, shooting shields, right? Yeah, he starts screaming about shooting shields. Yeah. He starts screaming about the TTK, and, you know, I get it. I totally get where he's coming from. It's like, you go to make a play and you feel like you lose to like 8 different rules, you know? Like, this is why I stopped playing Hearthstone, or however you're supposed to say it, Hearthstone. I stopped playing Hearthstone for that reason. I would start to beat somebody, and then I would lose to all these unforeseen, crazy strats and cards, and all this nonsense starts coming out. I'm like, what is all this? And that's what I would lose to. So it's got to be, you know, annoyed to like annoying to be a good shooter player, a competitive shooter player, and to go play a game like Apex and you lose to mechanics, or like he said, everybody's, you know, dying to the gas. I think the poll is slightly flawed. I've been hyped for Infinite for a while now. Playing it just made me more hyped. No, it's not flawed. You should know how to answer the poll. You were intelligent enough to write that sentence and you don't know how to answer the poll? Did it change your mind? No. You can answer that question. You can say no and it'd be a positive no. The poll's not flawed at all. If you are in and you are a fan and the technical test did not change your mind, you're like, yep, it's good, I'm excited, then you answer no. No is not necessarily a negative on this poll. We complain about audio in games but still use headsets with only 2 audio drivers. What are you talking about? I used a pair of Turtle Beaches to play Call of Duty World at War, and the sound design was fine for me to know where people were. Sound design does not need you to have a super expensive pair of headphones. The sound design in Hellblade is phenomenal, award-winning, actually. And I don't need to wear a different pair of headphones to enjoy that. And sound design does not need me to upgrade my equipment. Is it that hard to create 3D spatial sound that's consistent? Part of the problem with these games isn't my headphones or the drivers, it's that the audio just doesn't play sometimes. You'll have a guy walk in the house, open a door, walk up the stairs, open another door, and shoot you in the back, and you'll get 0 audio cues for that. That's not on my headphones or drivers. That's the game glitching out. More than likely, it's client-server lag, where his latency is affecting how quickly the sounds proc in the game. Don't be blaming my hardware for your crap sound design. Whether I played Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, Apex, or any of them, I consistently had sound issues. I've never played another game and had that happen. I tell you what game I played and had sound design that didn't make sense. I had a monster on my right and I heard him on my left. Do you know what game that was? Dark Alliance. A literal crap can of a game. Just an absolute garbage game. That game had bad audio. I've never played... It's not like you boot up Ghost of Tsushima and you're like, man, the sound's really jacking up. I didn't hear that guy coming. Or, wow, the sound's not working right. It sounded he was like on my left. No, it's fine. It all runs fine. Yeah, go play Outriders. It sounds like every gun, they went to a child and took him to an alley. And they're like, all right, Billy, I want you to bang on every trash can in this alleyway. All right, we got a dumpster, we got a tin can, we got a Rubbermaid trash can. This is great. This is going to be amazing. It's going to sound real world. It's garbage. The sound design in Outriders, I couldn't even play the game. I went and played Returnal, and then I tried to go back to Outriders, and I couldn't do it. I was like, just playing another game with good sound design, this is giving me a headache. It's something we should look at going forward. Better headsets with more than one speaker per ear. Well, okay, but here's the thing though, Paul. If I'm gonna get better headset, like maybe I get a headset to simulate surround, and it's some new technology of earphone, like it goes from my cheekbone like to the back of my skull, and it gives me this sense of 360 degrees of sound. Wouldn't it also then mean that they would have to code for that in the game? You know what I mean? What's the point of the poll if it doesn't give any information? What do you mean, what's the point of the poll if it doesn't give information? You're overthinking it, James. You're overthinking it. I don't report to NASA. Like, I don't take my findings from the daily poll to, NASA and I say, here, hot off the presses, we got this really, really scientific poll from the YouTube audience on my channel talking about Halo
Infinite. Which, it's just for fun. It's just to see, like, was there a big wave of people that had their mind changed by the technical test? As you can see, split right down the middle already. 200 votes in 9 minutes. People are like yes and no almost equally. So yes, it did change your mind. No, it didn't. I guarantee you a lot of those yeses are people that were like, it did change my mind. I was not interested and now I'm interested. I think most of those people are getting swayed over. Also, I'd argue that most decent headsets have 5.1 surround. Yeah, I mean, I have 5.1 on these. I don't use it though, because the way I receive game sound is basically stereo, you know. But I don't know. There was a time in Fortnite where sound worked great, and then all of a sudden it stopped working. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about Halo, but I found myself playing it into the early hours of the morning. The 3 levels are great. I'm telling you, there is something pure. There is something pure about a stripped-down arena shooter. There just is. There's something pure about it. Even though it's just bots. Now, I know there was hours where you could play PvP, which I wanted to see what real players would feel like. Because, man, those bots started to get tough, and that was really fun. Like the bots would put you in the dirt. You know, the bots would go from shooting the wall looking like they're trying to, like, eat a burrito and play at the same time to, like, putting you in the dirt like it's a tournament. You're like, what the frick happened? Like, their skill would really, really swing. And I don't know. That's one of the things I think that is about Halo that gives it a shot. There's something pure about the stripped-down arena shooter. In a world where in Fortnite they can build a mini mall, and in games like Call of Duty and PUBG you can run for 1,000 yards and not see a single soul and then just get shot in the back. Or in a game like Apex where, as Doc says, you're just shooting shields or you're getting third-partied. There is just something pure about a stripped-down arena gameplay. Now, this could be nostalgia tricking my brain into thinking that this is a really enjoyable gameplay experience. It may not have broad appeal. You know, it could be tricking my brain. I'm thinking back to the days of GoldenEye and Perfect Dark and the dawn of arena shooters on console, and my brain could be totally getting tricked and thinking that, like, this is really, really fun, when really I'm just taking a nostalgic trip down memory lane. I got news for you. I've played games recently that tried to appeal to my nostalgia, and it wears off really fast. I mean, really fast. Like, you want to talk about, like, 30, 45 minutes in, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, this just isn't fun. You know, I went back and played that Rare Replay with my brother, and I remember we went back and played all these old games, and like 15 or 20 minutes in, you're like, frick this. This doesn't have any legs anymore. I got into the 3rd hour of playing on Friday, and I was like, I don't want to stop. I had to stop and eat. We got the black screen thing happening, so, you know, it was a perfect timing. It was like, okay, I got to eat anyway. It's almost time for food. But man, oh man, I've not had that feeling in a while. And for me to have that feeling in a PvP environment, yes, I know it was bots, but it was still PvP at its heart. And for me to say, oh, dude, I want to keep on going, I don't know. I think that's promising. I do. I think that's promising. I think people looking for arena shooter, a successful arena shooter, are going to enjoy it. I think Splitgate should be worried, which I hate to talk like that. I never want to be like, this game's going to kill another game. But dude, I'm telling you right now, Splitgate is so similar that their time in the sun is gonna fade quickly if they don't get on the ball. Because you got to think about, man, the public perception here. This is just the worst freaking timing you could possibly imagine. On their upswing, the time where they could have had a lot of people playing, experiencing the game and having a good time in anticipation for the Halo technical test, they had their servers off for days. For days. That's just terrible. They had to delay. And for them to have that happen right going into the weekend where the Halo Infinite technical test goes live, that's not a good omen, dude. That's not a good omen. Like, you gotta be concerned. And between that and the Destiny crowd, I think Halo is gonna pull in a lot of people. And I'm talking about they're going to pull in people in addition to those who are already sold on the product. There are people that are like, dude, I'm going to play Halo no matter what. I'm going to play Halo till the wheels fall off, right? You couldn't get on Splitgate all weekend? Yeah, every time I saw them tweeting, I felt just horribly bad for them. I felt so bad for them. I was like, oh, man. What a tragedy, dude. Your own success is your own undoing. That sweet embrace of hundreds of thousands of people trying to play your game, you know? Tribes of Midgard hit a nice record. 200,000 people have checked out their game. Now, that's not a concurrent number. That's a total number. For perspective, New World broke through that as a concurrent number, meaning that many people were playing at a given time. And, Tribes of Midgard hit that. Now, for a $20 game, that's pretty dadgum awesome. I mean, that little Death's Door game hit over 100,000 downloads, and we celebrated that. So good for the developer of Tribes of Midgard. I'm sure they're tipping their hats and popping some champagne. A smaller studio selling their $20 game to 200,000 people, and maybe growing. Who knows? You usually get everything in the first month. My last trial with Destiny PvP was yesterday. Trying to run trials was just too frustrating. Halo Infinite will be where I go for PvP, D2 for PvE. Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think anybody is going to officially just like leave Destiny for Halo. But there's going to be a lot of people that are like, dude, I just can't go back to the Crucible now. It's just, Halo is too pure. You get a feel for actual, like, accuracy from your weapon, having accuracy when you're in the air, playing on dedicated servers, having really, really crisp gunplay. There was something about the flow of the map. Oh my gosh, the map design. I only got to play 2 maps, and I'm telling you, that is a huge, understated, not talked about enough factor for having fun in an arena shooter. Like, you can't just put people on a map and be like, well, the guns and the movement are great. What the frick? What's the problem? Why is everybody complaining? No, it's not talked about enough. It is not talked about enough. Map design is huge. I wanted to do a walkthrough of that map and explain why so many of their design choices made for wonderful, balanced, good gameplay. Not enough people talk about it. People just say, well, this map sucks. And some guys will be smart enough to tell you why. But most people, they won't be able to tell you why a map sucks. But let me tell you, I could break down like 20 reasons why that map that we kicked off the weekend with, why that map is so great. Because boy, oh boy, is it a great map. The flow, the balance, the angles, the thoughtfulness about flanks and being exposed if you lean out here or you approach from there, not having overexposed approaches by just having just enough elevation in the one hillside, so when you come out of the bottom area, there's 2 lanes you got to watch instead of 7. Oh my, so thoughtful in the map design. I was noticing it so many times. I was like, oh, that is so... The fact that that's there to block that angle. The fact that this route is an option instead of that route. The fact that these 2 routes converge. The fact that this area is not unapproachable or unbreachable. Oh my gosh. And the distance from choke points to action is, I'm telling you, it's pristine. It's pristine. No one can link arms and team shot it up. They can't, because the choke point length to action and engagement in hot spots is brilliantly crafted. I'm not sitting here being hyperbolic and overstating it. That was one of the most frustrating things in Destiny. So frustrating. So frustrating. In other words, Lono loves the game. I'm just telling you, when I can sense thoughtfulness in a game, I get excited. Yo, Rob, getting that pink badge. Welcome back. Enjoy your dope badge and emotes. Thanks for renewing your membership. Appreciate you so much. No tight corner choke point doors for shotgun camping. There were some spots that you could definitely get into. You could get into a tussle if someone wanted to be Mr. Shotgun. But here's the thing. The map dynamics do not allow one weapon. There's not one weapon. There is not one approach. There's not one style that takes over. I never once felt like, yeah, this is just going to be a shotgun. This is just going to be a snipe. This is just going to be a this map. No, the map's dynamics are brilliantly crafted. You can tell Lona didn't play much Halo. The map design is super unique with Halo. I'm surprised Destiny didn't continue that trend. I played enough Halo to know they were good at map design. So were the guys from Unreal Tournament. ADJC with a $5 tip through Super Chat. Also, there was different variables and places of engagement instead of some games where it's a lane-based like D2. That's exactly what I was just getting at, ADJC. The dynamics on the maps in Halo Infinite gives me so much hope, and it shows so much promise. Because there are certain maps you get on and you're like, oh, for frick's sake. You know what's going to happen, right? You know what you're going to get into. You know what it's going to look like. It's going to be snipe this or grenade spam that or whatever. Yeah, I like the sniper because the sniper wasn't free. The sniper wasn't free. That sniper, man, you got to work to hit your shots. It wasn't very forgiving. I was on PC with a controller, and boy, oh boy, when you hit a shot, it feels good. When you miss some shots, you know that it was on you. There's no hiding it. It's like when you trip on the sidewalk. It's like everyone can see you just tripped on nothing. Like, you know why. You're like, I missed that shot. I totally missed that shot. Right now D2's control is a mess. It's Wither Horde, all cap points. It's absolute trash. Yeah, there's no map dynamics. This is, okay, let me explain. Let me explain what I mean here. And by the way, if you're new, thank you for being here. We're discussing the Halo Infinite technical test. Give me 13 more likes. Take me to 200 likes. If you're enjoying the show, hit subscribe so you can join in the conversation. Subscribing is free. I do a talk show Monday through Friday in the mornings, and I do gameplay in the afternoons. That's what you're subscribing to. I am safe for work. A lot of people throw me on in the background like radio. So let me explain what I mean here. With Destiny, it's always felt like flavor of the month, okay? It's always felt like flavor of the month, right? You're on so hard in my background. Rad. People can see that. They're the flavor of the month. So the meta shifts, and it's like, it's all this now. It's all stasis. It's all shotguns. It's all, right? Couple of guns, and that's kind of it. I think one of the benefits of an arena shooter with set weapons, now keep in mind, this never belonged in Destiny. One of the reasons that people always ask for set weapons or weapons only, why? Well, because they know that's one of the leading causes of flavor of the month. It's like, this is it. It would be like going to an ice cream shop, and they're like, we do not have vanilla, we do not have chocolate, we got an overshipment of strawberry. That's it, right? Yeah, that's it. That's all we got. There's nothing else. There's nothing else here. And you're like, okay. And you come back next month. They're like, no. I know you came and got strawberry last month, but it's all vanilla now. Yeah, we're low. We got a little bit of peanut butter ice cream. That's okay. That's on the menu right now. When you have good map dynamics and a set amount of weapons, it's like, here are your options. What would you like to excel at? Right? Now, metas settle in and maps get predictable with heat, right? The heat map of, like, you know where people are going to cluster, and that's okay. You're going to have areas of the map where people traditionally fight and converge and funnel. That's not going to be avoidable. That is completely okay. That's healthy. That's like normal human behavior, especially when you've got items spawning on the map. But what you're not going to have to worry about is, well, I'm a really big fan of this weapon and this weapon and this play style. And right now, that's not the flavor of the month, so I'm incredibly frustrated. It was always the same thing with Destiny. It was like, well, you just got to adapt to the meta. Become the meta or be destroyed by it was basically your option. And in Halo, when you have map dynamics that allow for different approaches, you know, when you have different routes and different angles, and no one gameplay style, no one weapon rises to the surface as being like, this is all you need, this is all you need, I think something magical happens. When you can take player volition and player success and connect the two, that's a great feeling, okay? Have you ever played a game where you know that they just want you to do this, right? They just want you to do this thing or whatever. And you're like, but I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. It's almost like the game is telling you what to do. It's like when you first play like a mobile game, they're like, click this, now click this, now make a barn, now click this, now make a horse, now click this. And you're like, am I ever going to be in control, right? No one likes that. No one likes when their volition is completely taken from them. You're like, I'm not making any of the decisions here. I'm just along for the ride, you know? Hey, Salty Rob, haven't seen you in a while, dude. Glad to have you back. Your stream tends to always come up in a very blurry, low quality for me. I'm 255, 15 down up connection. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm streaming at a 7500 bit rate, 1080 crisp 60 frames per second on low latency. Now, you might watch a lot of streams on YouTube that are not low latency, and you probably have an easier time immediately jumping to higher quality. But with those internet speeds, you should be able to go into advanced and put it on high quality 1080 with zero problem. It's not on my end. It's not on my end. I think the low latency sometimes your internet, well, and this is also YouTube. YouTube just wants to get the video playing as fast as possible to lower strain on their servers. So they've been lowering your quality on almost anything you watch a lot of the times. It's just like a thing they did a while ago. I think they do it even more on streams, especially when a stream is set to low latency. So low latency allows the interaction with chat to be more fluid. I'm calling it now. Remember this, you heard it from me. They will nerf the distance the grapple can travel. Oh, I'm sure. But see, that's the benefit of having an item like that. You nerf the item. It's not something that somebody went and earned and found and invested in. It's just an item on the map. Like if they suddenly decide that the sniper's, you know, zoom distance is wrong, or they suddenly decide that the sniper doesn't reload quite fast enough. Well, that's okay. Everybody gets it. Everybody gets that change. Everybody gets to go use a different version of the sniper. Like, Destiny would make a change to a weapon, and you'd be like, well, the one that I grinded for is now not any good now. I was grinding for rifled barrel, and now rifled barrel is no good. Well, I was grinding for this, and now what the frick? They're reaching into your treasure trove and specifically doing something to it. Halo is saying, hey guys, the 10-yard line, we're going to make a different rule on that 10-yard line. You're like, okay, it's just a 10-yard line. Like, you don't have, like, now you will develop an attachment to a weapon, don't get me wrong. If your favorite weapon in Halo suddenly gets nerfed or changed, you're going to get irritated, but it's not the same. There's not some, like, passionate attachment to it. You'll be like, oh man, that's like my favorite go-to weapon, and now it's not as good, it's a little slower, it's a little whatever, blah, 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 blah. That will certainly happen. But at the same time, you don't feel like as I said, they're not reaching into your treasure trove and fiddling with it, you know? That mentality is ultimately why I stopped playing Destiny. I was sick of seeing my hard work not matter anymore. Right, it's like when you go to some kids. Have you ever gone to a kid's house like this growing up, and he would change the rules if he's losing? Yeah, those are the worst type of people to play with. You're like, what do you mean? I'm winning, right? What's the problem here? You're gonna change the rules because I'm winning? They're my toys. They're my toys. That's what it feels like sometimes in Destiny. They're like, well, this is our game. These are our toys. They're not yours. You signed the EULA. What's good, Hex? You signed the EULA. You don't own anything. I thought it was funny. I was on my Xbox Series X, and I was scrolling through Game Pass games, and Destiny 2 popped up, and it said owned. And I was like, huh. There's probably a legal case you could make there to say that that's actually completely and utterly misleading to the consumer to communicate to them that they own something that they actually don't own. You don't own that game. You don't own it. It's not yours. You can't take it with you. Yeah, you know, you signed a EULA. You have access to their game. You know, and they can ban you if they want or nerf everything if they want. That's, you know, it's not yours. So after taking a few months off, I found myself not watching much, but the Halo talk is dragging me back in. I watched your stream last Friday, and it felt like the old days. Looking forward to the future of your channel. I appreciate that, Salty Rob. Thank you. That was my stepbrother when we played 40K. His interpretation of the rules were rather unfair. That's right. That's right. It's not your game. That's something I've noticed about Steam. It says in library. Yeah, you don't own it. It's in your library. That's right. They can reach in and take it away. It's in the EULA that the term owned is referring to the license, not the game. Oh, did they actually put that in the EULA? Perfect. Perfect. Their corruption is complete. They're protected from the bottom to the top. They can ban everybody. They can ban anybody they want to. You license access to software you don't own, and people don't understand that. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Sinos. There was no meeting about this. There was no memo. There was no email. There wasn't a PowerPoint and a tutorial with some guy explaining like, all right, class, everyone listen up now. And we educate you on the fact that you don't actually own any of the video games that you purchase anymore. I mean, traditionally, that was the way that it worked. You would buy a cartridge, a CD, a disc, or whatever. You would install it, and it'd be yours, and you could play it whenever you wanted. But now, the gross corruptive greed of the corporate world and video games and publishers the size of countries are now actually making it so where you sign a EULA, which entitles them to your firstborn child, and then they can ban you for whatever reason that they want. Are there any questions before we move on to the next slide? No? Okay. You can see here now, too, DLC and micro... You know what I'm saying? There was no meeting. There was no, like, memo to, like, educate video game, like, gamers about, like, hey, just so you know, you don't actually own anything! Like, you own nothing! None of it's yours! You don't! It's not you. You've got nothing! You know, it's like the end of Willy Wonka. All you do is pay for access. And they can just be like, yeah, we deleted your character. The servers are gone. I mean, single-player games are the last true video games. They are. That's it. They're the last bastion. You never owned it? Yeah, I did. I owned games back in the day. It's mine. I pop the cartridge in and play it. It's mine. It's my game on my thing. You can't take it from me. You can't shut it off. You can't do anything to that game. It's mine. You can't patch it. You can't fix it. You can't update it. True ownership applies the ability to do with it whatever you wanted, and you never had that ability. Well, then do you not own a car, Eugene? Because you can't do whatever you want with your car. You can't drive it into a building. You can't blow it up in a field. Right? You can't light it on fire. You would get in trouble for that. It's your car, but you can't just do whatever you want with it. I've got all these bags of fertilizer. I don't understand why the FBI's on my doorstep. It's mine. I can do it. No, there's plenty of things you own that you can't do whatever you want with them. I owned that video game. I own a movie when I pop it in. You owned a copy, not the software. Right, but there was a sense of ownership. If I go and buy a DVD of, It's a Wonderful Life, I own that. That's mine. I bring it into my house. I can watch it whenever I want. They can't take it from me. They can't shut it off. They can't alter scenes. They can't edit it. They can't put Jabba the Hutt in place of Potter, you know, in the movie. They can't do that. It's mine, right? There's a sense that it's mine. There's a sense of ownership. Now, I'm not ranting and raving about this because I think it's like a problem. There is an element and there is a level of saying, you've created the infrastructure, you have created the servers, and you're letting me come hang out there. I get that. I get that. I'm not saying that can't be that way. Right? If there was an interactive television show and I paid for it and I put the DVD in, but it accessed servers and brought up scenes that changed week to week or month to month, and I could navigate, it was like a choose your own adventure story. Well, of course I don't actually own that because they've built the infrastructure that runs it all. That's where the line got blurred. I mean, the beginning truly, more than likely, I don't know how accurate this statement is, but I'm going to go with it. I would say the beginning of MMOs and games like Quake and Unreal Tournament, that was the beginning of the idea that there can be a service underneath that can generate insane amounts of money. So, you know, Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament, you had to find servers to play on. People had to invest in servers. I would play on a Michigan server because they had like a T1 backbone that they could put the server on. If that server went down, there was no way I couldn't play Quake. I mean, I could, but I'd have to settle for like a Central or Western server. So it was like there was no way. There was no infrastructure built by ID Software or id Software if you're a weirdo. ID Software didn't build an infrastructure, so there was just always servers available. And then in walks EverQuest and World of Warcraft. The idea that you can pay a fee to have access to servers and updates that are simply there. And so that was like the beginning of this idea. Well, you're paying for access. You don't own the game. You bought that disc at GameStop just so you could install it. It's not yours. We own the server. What is seriously absurd is that hard copy disc purchases are misleading because as soon as the internet support for the game disappears, the game disc isn't playable anymore. It depends on the game, Sci-Fire Man. It depends on the game. If you go and buy, you know, God of War, unless Sony disappears off of the earth, you can always play that game. At least the version on the disc. Any day one, week one patches or updates that come behind, you might not have access to if the entire Sony infrastructure goes down. Like if they're just gone. Well, you could still turn on a PlayStation with no internet, and the software would run, and the game would run. There are exceptions to that rule, but in many cases, you're right. You buy the disc, you install it, and that's it. That's just getting you access to their servers. If they stop supporting the servers, you have nothing. You have a coaster. Right? What are you going to do with your Anthem CD? What? You give it to a preschool and they can do crafts with it. They could make a wind chime out of it. There's nothing you can do with that Anthem disc. It's nothing. You can still play D1, all the OG content without issue. I mean, for a while, right? You can't play if they ban you. The point is that these games are just selling you. They're just selling you access. Now, Halo Infinite, the reason we got on this subject is I think people accept to a certain degree, right? Gamers have a hard time with this. We don't do well with accepting really anything. We don't do well with accepting change. Human beings in general aren't very good at this, right? Tell somebody that you're going to eat at 5:30 and then come back when it's 5:15 and say, "We misspoke. It's going to be 6:30." And see how people handle that, right? You know, that's not fun. We don't do well with change because expectations are the leading cause of frustration. If you have expectations that you're going to eat at 5:30 and you intentionally planned out your day and you're hungry and you're ready to rock and you find out it's going to be another hour and 15 minutes before you eat, like that's incredibly disappointing. That's the worst feeling, right? You're like, man, I'm going to fall over. And so I don't think we're very good at dealing with change. I don't think we're good at dealing with when people fiddle with our games. However, I think expectations are typically in a healthier place when you're playing an arena shooter and a patch goes out or a nerf or a buff goes out. Why? Because there's just something more sort of woven into that game's identity that they're like, well, that's just going to happen. Yeah, that gun was spawning too often. That gun had a reload exploit that people were taking advantage of. You know, that gun's damage was a little too high at mid-range or whatever the frick's going on. Now, obviously, people will complain and people will get angry and say, you know, we're tired of the nerfs or we're tired of whatever. But at the same time, I think there's a different expectation. Anytime you have a looter RPG investment angle, I'm telling you, I just think it changes. I just think it changes the way that people approach the conversation. You know, do you think Halo PvE will get new story beats maybe in small mission each season? It is called Infinite. I'm going to tell you right now, I would say 1 year into this franchise, we're no longer playing as Master Chief in the campaign. That's my prediction. I think they're going to spend the game's first year and the seasons that come out, you're going to be taking your Spartan that you customize and get armor for and invest in and earn stuff on a battle pass for. You're going to be taking him on missions. I think the main story you'll play is Master Chief. And then everything else, no, I don't think so. I think everything else you're going to start to play as your Spartan. And the reason for that is quite simple. They've basically said that. They have essentially said that you are going to start to take your Spartan out on missions and out on these things and these quests and stuff, and that the goal of that is to give people a sense of like you're taking your Spartan and investing in the story expansion. Now, the reason I think that they're doing that, is because they want you to become invested in your character, because that drives engagement, that drives purchase, that drives care and concern over battle passes, that drives care and concern over customization, care and concern over all of the cosmetics that they might sell. You know what I mean? And so I think that's their goal. What they'll likely do with Master Chief is they'll turn him into an AI voice. Okay. The Master Chief actor is 70. This is a 10-year plan. He'll be 80 by the end. Is still alive. Too risky to bank on one character. Right. And if they let you turn him in, you know how you can customize your AI? I think they'll have him record a ridiculous amount of audio. So if you want to have him be your AI, you know, or maybe they even develop technology that can emulate his voice or something. I don't know. But I think they're going to turn him into an AI. Like, you'll be able to customize your little AI to sound like him, and you'll be playing as your Spartan. And think about it. In 3 years, if you're heavily invested in your Spartan, and there's stories and seasons and all these things coming out, like, I just think you're more likely to care. Like, I think people stop caring about a main character when it's ongoing, you know? Like, I could picture, like, Assassin's Creed is a great example. Assassin's Creed is like, yeah, I don't think you'd want to play a live service game as the same character all the time. You'd want your own character. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're, you know, Assassin's Creed Infinity game, that's what you do, is you literally make your own assassin. You become invested in the fact that, like, you picked this beard or that hairstyle or this armor, you gave him this skin tone or this build or this RPG investment trajectory that you gave them. He was kept alive by Cortana, if I remember right, so it could be that he takes himself out, not being able to erase her in the end. I mean, maybe. Excuse me. If you guys are enjoying the show, smash the like button and take our poll in the chat. We need about 50 more likes to roll over to 300. The poll is kicking and moving. 417 votes. Halo Infinite technical test. The Halo Infinite technical preview. Did seeing it or playing change your mind? Now you could say no and be like, no, it didn't change my mind. I'm thrilled. I was already going to buy it. So you could answer no or yes in positive or negative. It's not exactly a hard science here. And people are submitting questions. If you're a paying member, you can submit questions, and we will get to those shortly. So if you're new, this is basically a safe for work. It's a safe for work radio broadcast throughout the week, a video game radio, basically. And we'll just put Horizon delayed for the other subject, and then we'll put what is this? Apex PS4 Bandwave. There we go. I think we should probably maybe pull up some of these questions. Maybe. Ratchet says, why do they get banned on PS4? I'll do the recording here in a little while. There was a massive surge of people doing a dashboarding glitch, and they caught them. And they banned a lot of people. Their recent ban wave was mostly PS4, and that's what they were doing. There was some dashboard thing. So, Spooks says, did you play any more of The Flight over the weekend on the new maps against the better AI or with any of the new weapons or the grapple? I tried to play. We had relatives in town, so I didn't have a ton of time. I wanted to play on the new map and record a video for gaming, but the game crashed. I was going to play like one round and get familiar with the map before recording because I didn't want to be like bumbling around. And I liked the way the new map played. And I saw and heard some of the new weapons and didn't get my hands on any of them. So, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to sample any of the new stuff. But it looked good. It really, really looked good. I saw a lot of the feedback. A lot of the feedback seemed to be that the nature of that second map was that it was also very balanced. So they banned people for quitting the game. Seems like some weak sauce. No. It wasn't just quitting the game. It was a dashboarding exploit. I forget what exactly it did. I'll be able to read the report to you. It wasn't just people rage quitting, Gilly. It was something more nefarious than that. Because you could always dashboard back in the day. I mean, you could dashboard in Call of Duty, and like it wouldn't ruin your win streak. So whenever I tell people that we had like an actual legitimate win streak in Call of Duty, that's what I mean. Let's see here. Right here. Players were banned for abuse of an RP loss forgiveness exploit, dashboarding, and abuse of a matchmaking exploit, allowing high-rank players into the bronze lobby to farm. So it was more nefarious than just like rage quitters. You know what I mean? They didn't ban a bunch of angry children who were breaking their controllers. They banned people who were abusing the system. Others were using it to get into lower ranked lobbies. Yeah, Hex has got the details. There you go. So, yeah. They actually turned on actual PvP last night before closing. I didn't get to try it out. Yeah, I didn't get to try out any of the actual PvP. I was only ever playing against the bots. And it was a bummer. It was a bummer that I didn't get a chance to experience the true PvP, because I would have liked to. I would have liked to have done that. In a game that records your losses, you should get punished or banned for force quitting or dashboarding to avoid that. Well, in general, the problem with that distorted is you got to have at least one level of forgiveness. You know, if I have a disconnect or someone comes to the door or I get a phone call, you know, if you give me one every couple of hours. If I sit down for a 2 or 3 hour play session and I've not played in a while, you know, if something happens or my power goes out or my internet goes out or I got to run to the store or whatever, or my kid spills something, I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, you got to give me at least one. You can give me one. I don't think that's asking for much, right? But yeah, I believe the test is over. I believe it's all been shut down. So, yeah, or the dog starts throwing up. That's really specific, Hot Like Robot. Is that a common problem for you? I mean, I hate pub stomping as much as most people, but banning people seems a bit much for using a game bug to stay in lower level lobbies. No. Frick them. Ban them. At least a suspension. You have to understand something. These games need to start taking aggressive stances on this stuff. No, get the frick out of here. Get out of here. Like, we are trying to make money with a product that hundreds of people or more have spent time building and thousands of people are trying to enjoy. And you want to come in here and exploit and jack around and mess with people? No, get the frick out. Leave and don't come back. That's my attitude about it. Get out. You're harming our product. It's a matchmaking ban. I'm assuming they'd be eventually, like, revoke it if it's just a matchmaking ban. Yo, Sven upgraded to tier 4. Thank you for doing that, Sven. We have 5 tiers of membership. If you've ever wanted to support this channel directly, you can hit the join button or use the join command in chat. No, you ruin other people's game experience by doing that. Ban them. That's what I'm saying. Like, a suspension is a fair punishment. Get smacked on the hand for exploiting the game, but we still want you to come back. Yeah, I mean, they still want to make money off these people, but more than likely, Gilly, they hit some of the worst offenders, I would think. Yo, T-Bone. What color is that? Is that a red one? That's a red one. T-Bone with a red badge. I can't tell with these glasses on. The red and the pink look the same. If you're curious about my glasses, you can use the glasses command. Does Sven get to choose your shirts now? No, that's not. No. That's pink. Is it really? It's pink. My eyes were still adjusting. Frick. It's pink. Sorry. I thought T-Bone had been around for a long time. I think I assumed it was red. Sure, suspend them for a couple of days or something. Make it not worth their time, I guess. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there are times where a suspension makes way more sense than a ban, okay? I think there are times where a suspension does make more sense than a ban. If, like, griefing and exploits, you hit them with, like, a week. That's pretty painful, right? But if you're using a flat-out cheat or a hack or something, or you're knocking people offline, like, there's no question. That's a first-time strike. You're out of here. Gone. Goodbye. But, you know, you're doing a matchmaking thing where you're backing out of games and exploiting the matchmaking so that you can get matched against, like, weaker players or something. Okay. You give them a 2-week suspension. You get out of here. You can't be doing that. You know, you're hurting our servers and you're hurting our players. Have you heard or seen that Bungie and Ubisoft have filed a lawsuit against the largest cheat organization, Ring 1? Isn't it interesting that you can take legal action when somebody actually has done something wrong? Isn't that interesting? I'll be curious how long it takes for that company just to settle out of court. Ring 1 trying to stand up against Bungie and Ubisoft, that's a tall order. Dave says, more of a lurker in chat. Happy to have finally reached a red badge. Thanks for all the content this past year. Thank you, Dave. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. Can you get prescription versions of those blue blocking glasses if you're short-sighted? Yes, you can. They have both options. Have we hit 300 likes yet? It looks like we're close. Are we close? We're close. 265. Come on, chat. Almost 500 viewers. Roll those likes over. If you're new to the stream, we cover a variety of topics every day. The lead topic is the Halo Infinite technical test. I'll be giving you my review thoughts on it shortly. Paying members are submitting questions that show up on the screen, but if you hit subscribe, you can talk in chat, and subscribing is totally free. Don't forget to order coffee or use the shirt command or the glasses command if you want to check out any of our various sponsors. If you see that little pop-up that says this stream includes paid promotion, that has nothing to do with the games that I'm covering. We are just now brokering contracts that include payment for integration, and we have to say, hey, this stream includes paid promotion, right? We're getting some nice contracts now, and we just have to divulge that. If I'm ever paid to play or cover a game, I will tell you that. But when you see that, I would say 95% of the time you see that pop up on this stream, it's just because of one of my sponsors is paying for placement, is all. That's what I mean. It doesn't seem like they used anything external. Give them a 2 week to make them feel it. But if they use actual cheats. Here's the thing, Gilly. People got to read the room, right? When mom and dad are on the warpath, you know better than to hit your brother or your sister, right? You just know. You know you're probably going to get a stronger reaction and a stronger disciplinary action if your parents are on the warpath, okay? Right now, if you think Respawn with Apex Legends or any of the studios in charge of Call of Duty, if you think they're going to play nice or light on the sentence when you exploit, cheat, or mess with their games, you're just an idiot. Like, this is a massive problem. It's a massive problem. Read the room. If you think like, well, we were just doing this, we weren't actually... Shut the frick up. There's every game is getting ruined by cheaters and dossers and floating Harry Potters and aimbots. Like, what do you think's going to happen if you start messing around with an exploit and get caught? Do you think they're going to take the time to, like, go to family court and decide your fate? No. Ban. Whoop. Get out of here. Bye-bye. They don't have time for this. They don't have time for this. What are they thousands upon thousands of people playing, hundreds of thousands of accounts banned for cheating, and they're supposed to figure out the difference between an exploiter and a hacker. You know what I mean? Come on. Suing Ring 1 is dumb. It's not going to do anything other than shift to someone else's servers. Yeah, like XQC said he's gonna try to claim him watching highlights of the Olympics was transformative. I'm like, XQC, I love the spirit of what you're doing, but you have to understand why you can't do that. There are literal contracts. There are literal contracts that keep you from doing that. Locked tight, copyright protected contracts. You can't do that. That would be like saying I streamed leaked copyright NDA footage of a game and made it transformative. You can't strike the video. Yes, they can, because they can legally protect that content. Whoever's broadcasting the Olympics or, I don't know, football, they have contracts to protect those broadcasts. If you think all you got to do is make it transformative, I got a good one for you. Do reactionary content to Disney clips from Disney movies and see how that goes for you. Well, it's transformative. Okay, fair use, as Zubair is saying, is not free use. There are things that are protected by contracts and copyright and trademark and really strict stipulations. You can't just be like, I'm going to boot up scenes of Aladdin and I'm going to do Mystery Science Theater transformative content and it's going to be Aladdin. And how long do you think it's going to take for your video to get shut down and your channel to go poof into the ether? There's a giant difference between like contractual protections for live broadcast sporting events and movies or TV shows. Like, go do transformative content of a Netflix original television show. See how that goes for you. Why can't you do that? Why? It's very simple. Netflix paid significant amount of money to make that show, and it's on Netflix, and it is protective, like rigidly protected from you just re-showing it and reacting. Even if it's clips, Netflix has a vested interest in saying, that's literally part of our business structure. We've spent millions on this show. You can't do your transformative content. Get the frick out of here. You're not Kevin Hart. You're not Snoop Dogg. You're not under contract to sit on a desk under brand-approved, coverage with logos and all this other stuff. You're just a streamer, right? Streamers need to settle the frick down. Streamers and YouTubers need to settle the frick down, because all you're going to do is make things way worse. You're going to make things way worse. You're not special. You're not special. Transformative free use content applies to public free use content, like public persons and public things, not contractually protected broadcasts of sporting events. It's like, you're turning into that aunt on Facebook who like reads a blog and think it applies to everything. Well, I read this article about fair use, and so that means that I can just... No, you can't. Do you see anybody doing reaction transformative content with sporting events or Netflix movies and TV shows or Disney movies and TV shows? No! Why? Because it doesn't fall under fair use. I couldn't believe it. I was like, why don't you just take a bucket of money and throw it down in a blender while you're at it? Just throw cash away. You're not going to win. Unless, in his mind, the long game is press. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're just playing the long game of getting press coverage about it. Why don't you just write me a check for $1 million, and I'll just get on the phone with you and be like, "You're stupid. Stop it." And then I'll save you buckets of cash by doing that. Just pay me instead. You're literally throwing money away. What are you doing? There's Mandalorian reaction videos in WandaVision 2. I think with shows and TV shows, it's a fine line. You wouldn't find me doing that. You wouldn't find me doing that. Heck no. Heck no. Absolutely not. It'd be too easy for them to come in and say you showed too much or whatever. They were worried about Baby Yoda leaking. They were striking down podcasts and YouTube channels that were about Mandalorian before Mandalorian ever aired an episode. They get claimed a lot. We did repeat theater, if you remember. Yeah, we never showed footage. Mike would show, like, screenshots. Ooh, even that's dangerous. Even that's dangerous. Yeah, like music. Right. Yeah. I read that headline and I was like, brother, there are good wars to fight on the content creator battlefield. And you are over playing in a mud puddle thinking you're going to make chocolate cake. Like, I don't know what in the frick you're doing, but you're not helping the cause. They have fair usage timers. They can use a set amount of time for reactions, but they have to be really careful. Yeah, I know Angry Joe gets claimed all the time. Yeah, you got to walk a fine line. You really, really do. And sporting events are under, like, there's all kind of broadcasting contracts and rights that goes into that. Like, watch the NFL and listen to that guy rattle off the redistribution of an NFL sporting event. Like, if you get a sports bar, you got to go through all sorts of stuff to get the approval to, like, have X number of TVs and, like, X number of games on. Like, it's not as simple as being like, hey, come to my sports bar. Yeah, I got a splitter and a repeater, and I've got 18 televisions running the game. No, you get in big trouble if you don't do it right. Same thing with playing music in your business establishment. You got to get a Muzak with an A, I think it's AK, Muzak license if you want to play the music. When you make repeat theater your personal channel, what's going to happen to the other reviews already on that channel? I have no idea, Atwood. I have no idea. Could be YouTube compression thing, but the graphics didn't look as good as I thought they would. Crowded, I would say that's related to two things. First and foremost, it was a technical test. They may have certain things to tone down, not polished, and rough around the edges, okay? Even Destiny 2 went through that. Like, one of their first expansions went through and did a bunch of UI cleanups to just make certain things look prettier. Even Destiny did that. So, the technical test could be rough around the edges. Number two, it's PvP. That's not the focal point. It's not the focal point. The focal point is a smooth and reliable experience. And I think you get that from stripping things down, right? If you went and played Uncharted 4, this might surprise you. It surprised me. Uncharted 4 had PvP in it. Did you know that? Did you know that, like, apparently there are people that really like playing Uncharted PvP? It's a thing. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee. Thank you so much. Backyard Explanations ordered a bag of Rageous Roast. Here, catch. I'll throw it to you. There it is. Look at that bag. Look at that. Look how highbrow that is. I wish the green didn't get chroma keyed. Soon we won't be on chroma key as often, so the bag will look a little nicer. Order Rageless Roast today at ragelessroast.com or the Coffee Command in chat. Supports me and my family directly. We ship it. We package it up. It's basically a family-owned side business. Look fine on my screen. Wait, chroma keys out the green stripe on the microphone. So that's all. What are your thoughts on the grapple shot and the sprint system? Same with the personal AI thing. So I thought the sprint was fine. I didn't get a chance to use grapple shot. I'm hearing murmurings that the grapple shot, might be too strong or whatever, right? I'm hearing that. So, we are all, I never want to start driving a narrative that like something needs nerfed, but anytime you have equipment in a game like that gives you an ability, this is going to be something that people debate. It's unavoidable. If I can run to a spot on the map and grab an item that gives me, a jetpack, well, I mean, you're going to have to talk about how long does the jetpack last? How fast is it? How high can I go? How often does it spawn? How long do I get to keep it? Like, you got to answer all those questions because it can sway fights, sway the course of a battle, right? But if you remember Uncharted 4 having PvP, Uncharted 4's PvP looked like a different video game. It didn't look like Uncharted 4. I thought I was literally playing like third-person Soldier of Fortune. You remember Soldier of Fortune? I was like, what the frick is this? I remember I went in and I was like, wow, what's going on? Yeah, no dark roast yet. Looking forward to getting my Steam Deck. I got the highest end model. Can't wait. Nice. Reach made a jetpack, have a ton of noise so you'd hear him take off. Right, that too. All the equipment was OP, the invis was undetectable, says Zubair. I'm talking about Halo, it looked fine on my screen. Big Mo, I thought the same thing. I thought the Halo Infinite preview, the Halo Infinite technical preview, for a technical preview looked great. I was like, I think it looks fine. I didn't expect to boot up and be like, look at the ray tracing and the cascading light beams coming from the sky and the photorealistic grass. No. I bet it frames consistently. I need to go back and play it on PS5. That's exactly what it was, Eugene, and that's one of the reasons it looks so different. It jumps up to 60 FPS. Uncharted 4 barely maintains 30 FPS in some areas, but their PvP, 60. Whoop, whoop. Real smooth. Now, the fact that they have that kind of agility inside that game and then it's inside its engine gives me really, really big hopes for that PC port. Because that document leaked that showed they have plans to bring that to PC, and I am very excited to see what that turns into. If you guys are new and haven't hit subscribe yet, hit subscribe and the bell button. It lets you talk in my chat. Subscribing is free, doesn't cost anything. Monday through Friday, we're here doing a talk show like this. We do gameplay in the afternoons, so roughly 2 streams a day usually. I am a safe for work broadcaster, so a lot of people throw me on in the background like video game radio. Today's lead topic is Halo Infinite Technical Test, my review of it, but we also have news about Horizon Forbidden West getting delayed and Apex Legends doing a recent ban wave and hitting a lot of PS4 players, and we'll be talking about that throughout the stream. Paying members can submit questions. They're right on the screen. Radical submitted this question last night. This is a good reason to be in our Discord server. She submitted this in the Discord. She says, in what scenario is Forbidden West being pushed back a positive thing for PlayStation? I can't think of it being a positive thing for PlayStation. They wanted a holiday release, and this takes that away. You want Microsoft to be king for the holidays? Because they're gonna be. I'm telling you right now, Halo Infinite and Horizon Forbidden West are nothing alike. Doesn't matter. They're gonna have a free-to-play PvP game and a campaign hitting the holidays with their a banner, a flagship title. Now, the only thing that could come from this is if Halo Infinite launches and isn't ready and has tons of problems and is a disaster, well, then Sony could be like, whew, we didn't rush Horizon. It can land how it's supposed to, and we'll be all the better for it. Why didn't you try the grapple in Halo? I only played on Friday, Popping Dolphins. I only played on Friday. When I went to play on the weekend, I played for all of 60 seconds and it crashed on me. I was very sad. Because I was surprised. I was extremely surprised. I was enjoying it as much as I was. So, you can use the question command or the Q command to submit questions. If you're a paying member, they show up on screen. You don't got to be a paying member to talk in my chat, though, and I'll respond to almost anybody. So, I respond to people regardless of if they have a sub badge or not. They're going to have Halo and Battlefield as their lead console. Yeah. You can see Halo 5 DNA and Infinite still with the slide jumping physics. I'm so happy to see that. Well, here's the thing, though. I felt like it was a balance between the old and the new. I am not a Halo expert by any stretch, but I felt a combination of the old and new. I said, this is Halo, but it certainly is a flashier, prettier, faster Halo. You know, I sensed that it had been upticked quite a bit, and in the right ways. Grapple is very powerful, says Zubair, but you only get 3 uses, so very limited. Oh, well, that's probably a good way to keep it in check. Like I said, anytime you make something on the field that's going to give you an ability, those are all the questions you have to ask, right? We have Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut coming out on August 20th. Right, but that's not the holiday season, Atwood. November and December, especially November, is huge for a variety of reasons. Number one, if you launch prior to November 15th, you're in contention for Video Game Awards, and you're in ahead of the surge of purchases. You know? Like, a surge of purchases happens week of Thanksgiving and after, right? Ghost, Death Stranding, Kena, Deathloop, Sony Holiday is fine. Yeah, none of those are flagships, Eugene, and 2 of those are just director's cuts. Kena's not a flagship, and neither is Deathloop, and Deathloop's going to be on other platforms. So that's not, Eugene, hear me out. That's not a bad lineup. I think Kena looks very promising. Okay. Kena Bridge of Spirits might benefit from this Horizon Forbidden West thing. They might be kind of salivating like, ooh, like we might be more popular now, you know. Especially they could do like a holiday sale and mark the game down $10 and frickin' have a surge of sales because everyone's like, well, Horizon didn't come out, so let me take out this Kena Bridge of Spirits game, you know. Deathloop is a PS5 exclusive. I thought it was a timed exclusive. I thought it was also on PC. Are you sure about that? Is it a console exclusive, timed exclusive, or an actual legitimate exclusive? Because I thought for sure it was also on PC. Zivik says it's timed. They have to put consoles on the shelves. Have you seen the game sales for Miles when stock gets released? Yeah, I mean, that's an angle to consider here, what Eugene is saying. Is that the PlayStation 5 starts to get in circulation, and then they release Horizon Forbidden West, so instead of having 10 million in circulation, they could have 20 million in circulation, you know? You also have to remember Horizon Forbidden West is getting cross-generational support, so it doesn't really matter. It'll sell like gangbusters. Deathloop is a legit PlayStation exclusive? Okay. All right. We're getting mixed responses here. Deathloop platforms. Launching on console exclusively for PS5 and on PC. So it's not exclusive, and it sounds like it's just launching on PlayStation. It sounds like a timed exclusive to me, which will certainly help the holiday lineup. I worry there's going to be another Returnal, though. I think it's not going to appeal to a massive audience the way a single-player flagship title like Horizon would, you know. Still waiting on that Horizon Zero Dawn PS5 update. I don't think you're ever going to get one. I think they're too busy working on the next game. Last thing they're going to do is try and push out a patch for it. I mean, unless the delay allows them to do that, I just don't think so. I just don't think so. 3 to 4 years later, it'll come to PC. Yeah. The next question was from Echo Hammer or Sven. Says, what does the Halo technical preview tell you about the future of Halo multiplayer? Are you excited more than before now that you've got your hands on it? I see potential, right? Okay, so Zivik found a report. The PS5 timed console exclusive Deathloop will not hit Xbox until at least September of 2022. So almost a year. Excuse me. Almost a year. Deathloop is a Microsoft game, not according to this report from October the 7th of, July 10th. From July 10th of this year, so less than a month ago, we've got a report saying that the PS5 is a timed exclusive, so it'll hit Microsoft almost a year later. Oh, it is Microsoft? Wait, so it's a Microsoft game? And they sold a timed exclusive to PS5? Pre-existing contract. Oh, because it's Bethesda. Now I understand. So Deathloop is a Bethesda game, which essentially is Microsoft property, but not really, right? They got to spend the weekend at Dad's house first before they come home to the Xbox. Okay. All right. What do you think of the personal AI system? Which one did you use? And did you use any of the new robo prosthetics? I looked at the robo prosthetics. I think I put some on my legs. I thought they looked cool. And then I didn't mess around with the personal AI system. Spider-Man got a patch with Miles Morales. Why not Horizon Zero Dawn? Different developers, different aims and goals. When Spider-Man got its patch, Miles Morales was built around, I think, a very similar structure, and they probably used the old game maybe to test certain things out, you know? I think they did the same thing with God of War. I think God of War got its update on the PS5 because they were testing what they could do with Ragnarok. Unfortunately, with Horizon Forbidden West, I think Horizon Zero Dawn was built in a way where when they ported it to PC, a lot of the character animations, facial animations, and clothing animations were not built for 60 FPS. So even though you can get the game to run decent on PC, there are certain elements of Horizon Zero Dawn that just look really, really wacky. And Miles Morales was built on the same map, exactly what Eugene is saying. It was basically all the same core foundational assets of Miles Morales. So when they were working on updating the original Spider-Man, they were benefiting whatever they were also doing for Miles. So unfortunately, for Horizon Zero Dawn on PlayStation 5 getting an update, the reason I think it's incredibly unlikely is they're trying to get their sequel off the ground, and they didn't build it in the same world, same map, nothing. They're trying to make the next Horizon pretty strong, pretty revolutionary. So I think that's standing in the way, you know. Could you out the question numbers back on the screen? It's hard to tell where my question is in the queue. We don't like people knowing where I am in the queue. Sorry, Gilly. We didn't like that because people would be like, oh, he's on question 14 of 15, and I'd get like slammed with a bunch of questions. So, sorry. New Carnage trailer? Oh, really? Is there a launch date? Is there a launch date? I'm excited for that. I like the first Carnage movie a lot. It really surprised me. I enjoy so many movies, so many more movies, because I just go in thinking, I'm going to let this movie just do its own thing. I'm not going to go in with expectations. And it makes a big difference. Robo-prosthetic is kind of meh, because at the point that you replace both arms and legs, what's the point of even having a Spartan? Right. Next month, no solid date. Wait, they put a trailer out for a movie and just said next month? What? It just says fall. Oh, okay. I was like, what in the world? That would be the weirdest thing ever. Coming soon to a theater near you and streaming in September, maybe. Like, what? First Carnage movie? Pile of heads, pile of bodies. I love that, dude. I love it. Pile of heads, pile of bodies. I thought it was great. What first Carnage movie? Oh, I'm sorry. I said Carnage. I meant to say Venom. My apologies. Did somebody put Carnage in chat? Yeah, Sacrificer said new Carnage trailer. Right. Sorry. It's a Venom trailer, but it's for the movie that has Carnage in it. I apologize. Venom launches September 24th. Where'd you hear that, Sven? The amount of money I'd pay to see Venom join the MCU with Spider-Man, yeah, that needs to happen. Coming soon if we get around to it. Just looked it up. Uncharted 4 campaign is $60 on PS5. No, it's not. Quit telling lies, Eugene. Did they do an update, or is it just harness the power? Did they do something for PS4 Pro? How do they swing that? Because there are games that harness the PS4 Pro, and on PS5, they uptick. Never mind, it was a mod. I was going to say, you are telling lies. I would have played that. We would have had a thumbnail. Anytime PS5 games get an update, we have really good results. We played a really old Tomb Raider game the other day and had great results from people interested tuning in, and I had a great time with it. So, hey, if you're just tuning in, we're discussing the Halo Infinite technical preview, my review, my thoughts of it. You can ask me questions in chat. Paying members can ask questions on this forum. You got to hit subscribe to talk in my chat. I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster, Monday through Friday. Thanks for being here. I'm surprised they're putting a movie out when half the world won't get to watch it. If they can leverage streaming services, I think some of these companies could start to make good money. I really, really do. I mean, the Black Widow debacle is sad because Scarlett Johansson deserved her own movie a long time ago, and they completely messed that timing up. She's a great, I think she's a much stronger actor than people realize. And I think she'd have made for a great lead, and I think they got a great cast. The timing of that is so unfortunate, and now she's suing them. Could you at least put the number of the question you're on so we can see how far you're in, not how there are in a total? No, I like the layout how it is. We're already risking putting too much on the screen. So I understand why you're asking, but. I don't want to do that. She's going to win the case too? Oh, is she going to win? I figured when Disney took a personal shot at her publicly and mentioned the sickie, I was like, "Oh man, Disney's not going to win." I honestly thought that. I was like, "Oh, Disney's not going to win because they're making it personal. They're angry. If they were going to win, they wouldn't say anything." It'll never get to court, but she's about to get paid a fat settlement. Yeah, they'll probably just settle out of court. Yeah. And Emma Stone's weighing her options with respect to Cruella. Yeah, Cruella. She made $20 million so far, and just wants more. Listen, it's Disney. What are you worried about?